This project, named Cidade MAtarazzo, advocates reuse for São Paulo's modern period equipment, such as Hospital Umberto Primo, originally built by the local Italian community in 1904, and thereafter operating through to the mid-80s when it was closed due to its weak financial situation. The result was early obsolescence for the physical facilities of one of the city's first secular healthcare institutions. This presentation describes private agents undertaking recycle initiatives from the perspective of sustainable modernization for cities, which should properly mean a process that articulates different notions such as preserving and renovating consolidated urban factor. By analyzing this type of case study, one may advance on favorable terrain for investigation. Buildings designed by Brazilian architects and urban plannings for the 30s and to the 70s, and their chances of being reused. The term modernity, for instance, is used to describe changing through in societies impacted by 19th century industrialization. In the context of cities, modernity is present in the development of technological innovations applied on a large scale, such as construction systems that enable urban centers to verticalize, more permeability between public and private spaces, new mobility systems, and expansion of urbanized territory. In Brazil, modernized cities led to closer relation between economic and cultural groups whose ideological orientations differ, such as points of contact between property market agents and modernist architects, leading to high-quality urban equipment and fabric. Recently, we have seen proposals such as modernizing the Pacaembu Stadium and awarding concession agreements to use a sports center named for Constâncio Vaz Guimarães, thus restating this agenda of reusing high-quality equipment despite its obsolescence. In general, these projects require tightly coordinated initiatives between public and private agents to formulate strategies that are both technically and economically feasible for property operations of this type, in addition to the need to legitimize these programs in the eyes of the various social actors involved. Among major obstacles to this type of approach that I would like to highlight here is that licensing involves long and drawn-out procedures, nor are there financial facilities that focus on this type of property, so developers are reluctant to tackle these challenges due to risks arising in the contest. The Cidade MAtarazzo development prompts a case study that shows many of these aspects. The initiative is being headed by Grupo Alar, who work with art and architecture of this kind of type in France, Italy, and other countries. Its multifunctional program includes hospitality, cultural, corporate, and religious activities by reusing Santa Luzia Chapel, for some among contemporary buildings and others protected by municipal and state entities charged with preserving São Paulo's historical heritage. When the hospital was closed in the mid-80s, the property featured in business rivalries due to its potential for verticalization. All the time, a very restrictive view of leasing predominates because public agents were concerned as to how the equipment could be conserved given incursions headed by predatory segments in the region's property markets. Therefore, the whole complex was legally protected, although there were no further study to research its related historical and aesthetic values. However, despite legal protection, a proposal was approved to demolish a substantial part of the historical complex, but it did not meet with acceptance from neighborhoods, which led to a public civil action involving the Public Prosecutor's Office, local residents' association, preservation agents, and municipal government. Aimed at the legal imbroglio, Grupo Alar bought the property in 2012 and submitted a proposal for intervention, ensuring that leased buildings would be preserved while also creating contemporary buildings. The debate went on until 2014, when a review of current protection was approved by the authorities as shown. In general, the parts to be preserved were central elements of the historical complex, namely the most expressive ones occupying the central portion of the site, which have been numbered in the image. These blocks had their facades and volumes preserved, except for the Santa Luzia Chapel, due to restrictions affecting internal and external interventions. In practical terms, the new project established certain parameters. First, the new buildings should be located in areas close to the site's edges. Second, given the need to preserve the historical complex, support areas should be created below ground level. Having incorporated the heritage listening resolution as an effective data point for the project, we propose contemporary buildings located at the ends of the site. Those buildings had to establish harmonic relations with the listed complex and the neighborhood, which made for the verticalized solution of Torre Mata Atlântica, a tower designed by Januvel. 80 underground levels were also created as part of a technical solution favored by the site's geography, and they were divided into parking spaces, cinema, theater, support areas for key equipment items, etc. Studies in Santa Luzia Chapel particularly show a remarkable complexity of the structural solution adopted. The need to expand parking spaces require an alternative that would enable excavation immediately below the building. Therefore, a structural system was conceived could convert shallow foundations to deeper ones by creating a transitional structure supporting 4 piles on each side that were driven down to a depth of approximately 60 meters. A high relevant aspect, we believe, is that reuse on a urban scale will require overall visions and plans capable of setting criteria for the presentation of cultural values inherent to these sites, but also guiding the creation of contemporary elements that had been strategically for the feasibility of development of this nature. The first stage of the development is nearing completion, which will involve restoring Santa Capela Chapel and Filomena Matarazzo Maternity Hospital, in addition to building two towers, Torre Mata Atlântica and Edifício Leandras. Work started in 2015 and, as mentioned above, involved major efforts to implement the infrastructure needs to ensure the project's feasibility. In this respect, one might reasonably believe that much of the work done in its basement. However, in terms of restoration, the existence of several buildings with their own construction techniques require more in-depth historical research. Suitable technical solutions for the challenges that emerged had to be devised too. The Santa Luzia Chapel, for instance, was restored concurrently with excavations. This study has been monitored by preservation agents making monthly inspections to help update procedures, difficulties, and solutions used. This concern provides to be of great relevance by duly publicized technical approaches as well as enriching institutional discussion. This scenario overall has been valuable for its exploration of the challenges involved in this type of proposal. As noted initially, there are complex lease-sizing and funding issues to be solved if we are to structure a market in the appropriate scale for contemporary urbanization in Brazil. There is a crucial need for negotiated solutions, such as the one shown here, that reflect collective interest, particularly preserve building heritage, but also enable the business community to post gains that instigate their interests. Thank you very much.